Today is we're speaking about dreaming wildly, and this is honestly a dream that we want to see take place, and it's only the beginning. There's so much work to be done on that farm. We're actually hosting our first camp in the first or the second week of October, and we need everyone's support and everyone's help, and you can play a big part in making a difference in this place, and especially in the lives that are going to go to all these camps and be there. So actually this Sunday coming up, we're going to have our first Gracegate working bee at the farm. And I hear there is a lot of work needed to be done. There is painting, there is cleaning, there is cutting, there is digging. There is, a huge amount of work. And we would love to have you join us next Sunday. We're all going to meet up probably at maybe about 7 or 8 o'clock. We'll have like two sort of convoys of cars leaving. And it takes about an hour and a half from Gracegate. We're going to head out there and we're going to work the whole day. If you can bring your own picnic lunch, that will be great. And it will be really helpful. We're going to need I think we're going to have a lot of working bees and also a lot of good times at this place. So if you can continue to join us to pray for this place, to pray for what God wants to use this place for, that's going to be awesome. Sound good? Exciting? All right. I apologize. I am still a bit fluish. I learned a big lesson 2 weeks ago, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, and we were standing outside after church, and I was sitting there standing with Walter, and he was so apologetic, because I don't know if you know how Walter is, but he's really apologetic, and this guy who doesn't want to hurt anyone or do anything wrong, and he felt bad because he drove with me the whole week before, the weekend before in the car down to snow camp, and he was sick. And I said to him outside in the parking lot, I said, Walter, don't worry, your germs aren't strong enough to, take me down. And that Monday, I had man flu like you can't believe. And it lasted for about a whole week and a half, and still, I'm not 100%. But so I thought of mentioning the rugby today, but I thought, you know what? I'm not going to say anything, all right? We're just going to leave it, and we're going to see what happens tonight. But we're speaking about what matters most still. Last week, we started the series about, hey, God has actually created us, and He wants us to live. He wants us to live a life of abundance. And Zalia shared with us how the enemy keeps coming in, trying to destroy and trying to steal and take away, which God has actually created us to live. And this week, we're looking at dream wildly. And honestly, it's a topic that I don't think about much. I can't really comprehend it. I'm like, am I practicing this? Am I actually dreaming wildly? I don't know. And so I'm going to try and do something a bit different today. And I need 3 volunteers. All right? I'm not going to hurt you or do anything bad. Might even buy you a coffee in the week if you come and help me. So any 3 volunteers, that will be really great to come and help me out. Give you $10? No? Not $10? Okay, yeah. You can come, Sasha? Yeah, you can come for 10, yeah. 10's good. Naomi, was that you? Okay, cool. And Josh, yeah. Thank you, guys. Oh, sorry, the light's so bright in my eyes, I can't see if someone puts their hand up or not. Thank you, guys. What I want to do is I want you guys, I'm going to give you a piece of paper. All right? Sasha, you can join. Okay, can we have one more then? Okay, Celeste as well. All right. Celeste, you might have done this. I'm not sure if you were with the young mums or not. But anyway, I did this with the young mums the other day. And what I want you guys to do is there are 3 pieces of paper. I'm going to give you a pen each. All right. And I want you to draw whatever you want. All right. And I'm going to give you 1 minute. All right. And just draw whatever you want on one of those pages. Okay. Understand? Yes. Okay. Just draw whatever you want on those pages. I'm giving you 1 minute. Your time starts now. Go for it. Oh, wow. That is good. Excellent. Very cool. Okay, we'll give you another 10 seconds. 5 seconds. Excellent. Okay, good job, guys. Good job. Okay. All right, I want you to hold it up. Can you stand in front here? Hold your piece of paper up. All right, we're going to start with Celeste. Can you all see Celeste's page? Great page. All right. Celeste, tell us a bit about that. What do you have on there? A house, okay. Cool house. Yeah. Grass. Giant bird, okay. And is that, what's in the corner there? A sun, okay. Awesome. Let's give her a hand. That's awesome, okay. Good job, Josh. What did you draw? Okay, awesome. You got a sun. A house as well, okay. A banana. Awesome, okay.
My family.
Your family, all right.
A car, a smiley face, and a plane, and a movie.
Okay, awesome. So are you your family carrying the banana there?
Yes.
Okay, just checking. That's okay. Awesome. Good job. All right, Naomi.
I feel like my name's exploding.
It looks great.
You know when you're little and you have that one thing that you're like, you're a master at drawing, you draw it all the time? This was my thing, but it turns out I'm not very good at it anymore.
That looks great. Okay, cat chef and okay, awesome. Isn't that good? That is better than I can do. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. You can keep your page if you want to or not. All right. Thank you so much. Did you notice any similarities between some of the, what was that? Sun? Yeah. House? Yeah. What else? Yeah. Okay. Well, let me show you what I gave them. All right. So this is what I gave them. And I said, hey, could you please draw, yeah. What was my instructions? Can you remember? Draw what? Yeah, draw whatever, right? Draw anything. Like dream wildly, like do whatever, all right? And it's interesting that a few of them, and I'm sure if we did this with everyone today, I'm sure most of us would have maybe drawn a sun, all right? Maybe, I don't know. I've done this before with other people, and I've seen that happen. And there was something else that was really interesting about everyone's drawing. Do you know what it was? Excellent. All right? Excellent. Everyone drew inside this box. All right? I said draw whatever, draw on the piece of on paper. I mean, they could turn it around, do whatever. But I guess, yeah, in front of church, you're also nervous to do any mistakes, eh? But everyone drew inside the box. All right? Why do we do this? What's that? Habits? Yeah? Self-constrained? What do you think? It's a box. Okay. It's what was expected of them, right? And who told them that? Yeah. Yeah. So just because the box was there, just because they thought that's what they're supposed to be doing, they had to draw similar pictures. What are those over there? Who told you they were birds? Have you ever seen a bird like that? Hey? Honestly, can you be honest? Have you seen a bird like that before? Okay, maybe way in the distance, right? I mean, we grow up and we say, yeah, that's how we draw a bird. But actually, no one actually said, I didn't say those were birds, right? The question I want to ask you today is, we're speaking about dream wildly. And I don't know about you, but sometimes in life I feel like, I don't know, I'm in a place where I don't think I can dream wildly anymore. I might be in a place where I think like I can't think outside the box anymore. For some of us, it could be because of, outside influences. It could be just the status quo. It could be, this is how we're supposed to do things, so this is why we don't dream wildly. Becoming a Kiwi, is that just the Kiwi culture? Okay, I understand. All right. For some of us, maybe it's actually because we've dreamt before. I mean, we had good dreams before, but we've gotten hurt. We've done some things and, we thought this was the ultimate dream. This was, everything was going to fall into place. This relationship, this job. We were so secure and we banked everything on it, but it just fell to pieces. It didn't work out. And we were afraid. We're afraid to step out of the box, out of our comfort zone and do something and to dream, to exist outside of reality and do something different because we were scared we might fail again, or we afraid that we're going to experience that same pain. And that's true. That has happened to, I'm sure, most of us who are sitting here today. Maybe it's some of the voices that tell us, hey, I mean, that's a dumb idea. I mean, why are you even thinking of that? Honestly, it's not going to work. I mean, honestly, just settle. Just settle for less. Today, I strongly believe that this series, what we're doing, what matters most, we're speaking about this topic because we believe that there is something that God wants to invest in our lives, do something in our lives that is more than we are actually experiencing currently. In our connection, in our relationship with God and our relationship with others, He wants to do something different, something more, something that is not just content with the status quo. And He's challenging us and He's saying, hey, stop drawing suns. Stop drawing inside the lines. I want to challenge you to something more. Today I want to share a short passage of Scripture. And it's actually, we'll actually share this one first. But this is God's dream. And when you think of dream, what do you think of? If you think of dream wildly, what comes to your mind straight away? What are some things? Yeah, doing something that seems impossible. Yeah. This is what I thought, because I didn't really know about this. And this morning, I woke up and I had a dream. I actually dreamed something, and I don't dream often. But this morning when I woke up, I also remembered my dream. And I thought, I'll share it with you guys, because this is a life-changing dream, okay? This is what happened. As I woke up, there were these two tigers, all right, that I was dreaming about. These two tigers were trying to climb out of this cage. It was sort of a sloped cage. And as the one was trying to climb out, the other one was pulling him down. And as the other one was trying to climb out, the other one was pulling me down. I was on the sidelines, all right, taking a video on my smartphone, all right, of these two tigers. And I thought, man, this is amazing, because, I don't see tigers every day. And as I'm filming this, the tigers slide over to the side, and the one hits the fence, and as the tiger hits the fence, he falls under the fence, and he comes right underneath by my feet, all right? I'm petrified. This is a tiger, all right? As he comes out under my feet, he turns into a dog, and he runs away, all right? That is my dream, all right? Life-changing, right? No, it made no sense, all right? I was like, well, what is that? I don't know. I don't know if there's anyone who can interpret dreams, but I can't. I don't understand that. But hey, when I think of dream, I think of it's this dissociation of reality. It's actually something that is so far from us and something that, we can't comprehend, we can't understand. It is bigger than us. We can't even dream about it. We can't even imagine it, all right? But it's something we desire. It's something we yearn for. We have all dreams. We yearn for this. We desire. We hope that we can actually attain this. We can grab hold onto it. God says here, as he starts off, he says this. Isaiah writes this, and he says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord." All right? He goes on, and he says, "As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Here God is saying, and Isaiah is writing this, and he's saying, hey, the way God thinks is completely different to the way we think, all right? The way we live our life inside of this box is maybe completely different to the way that God actually wants us to live. But we've gotten comfortable. We've gotten okay with the status quo. We've gotten okay with, hey, we'll just do what everyone expects of us. There was this experiment that they did, and they used 4 monkeys. And if you're an animal lover, I didn't do the experiment, so I take no responsibility of what they did to these monkeys, okay? But they pulled in one monkey at a time into this big sort of cage with a big tree, and they got the monkey to climb all the way to the top. And at the top of the tree, there were this massive big bunch of bananas. And as the monkey was climbing up and about to grab the bananas, they'd throw the monkey with ice cold water, all right? And the monkey would run down. So they took that monkey out, they put the other monkey inside. As soon as the monkey got inside, he climbed up the tree, went to the bananas, and was about to grab the bananas. As soon as they did that, they threw the monkey with ice cold water. The monkey didn't even go for the bananas, headed straight down. They did this with all 4 monkeys, all right? The exact same thing. Then what they did is they took one of those monkeys out and they brought in another monkey, all right? And this is mind-blowing. What they did then was they, as soon as the monkey came into the cage, he started climbing the tree, all right, to get to the bananas. But as soon as he did that, the other monkeys grabbed him and pulled him down. Fascinating, right? What is mind-blowing then is what they did then is they took that monkey who hadn't been thrown with ice-cold water, they left in the cage with the other 3 monkeys. Then they took one of those 3 out. They brought another one in. You still following this? Makes sense, right? And then they brought another one in, and they brought another one in. There were 4 monkeys then in the cage that hadn't been thrown with any water before, all right, who started to climb up. But as they started to climb up, the other monkeys pulled them down. Even though they had no reason to pull them down, they didn't know why. This is just something they had learnt. This is just something that had happened to them, so they just went with the status quo. Nah, we're not that far from monkeys, or maybe we are, I don't know. But don't you think we live life like that sometimes? Because of what others have said, because of what others have done, we decide, you know what, I'm not even going up. I'm not even going to try that because I'm afraid. And we pull each other down. Maybe we're not attaining our dreams because of what other people have said to us. I don't know where you're at. God is saying, hey, I've got thoughts and dreams that are higher, that are bigger than whatever you can imagine or dream. Paul explains this really well. And Paul explains this in the book of Ephesians, where he's writing to the church in Ephesus. And as he's writing this, Paul is currently a prisoner, all right? I mean, if there's any shattered dreams, it's probably his dream of being a prisoner. But as he writes this text, he actually praises God, and he's actually saying, he writes it off and he says, hey, I'm actually a bondservant of Jesus Christ. In other words, I'm thankful that I can be in prison for Jesus Christ. You think that's dumb. Why would you want that? Why would you want that for your life? Why wouldn't you just settle for living inside the box and being okay with, everything else? He goes on and in this discussion in chapter 3, Paul actually, he shares about, hey, he has understood there's this mystery of God, all right? There is this mystery of God. There's this secret of God that he is starting to discover. And he says what is happening, he says that, hey, this message of the good news, the gospel, he says this was going out to all the Jews, all right? But now he's starting to see and discover that this message of hope is actually for everyone, all right? It's for everyone. It's for the Jews and the Gentiles, the unbelievers. He says, hey, this is mind-blowing. And I tell you why, because Paul is writing this and he's understanding this because he was a prisoner, all right? And before that, he was the one who was killing all the Christians. He's saying, hey, there is something mysterious. There is something that is this unnatural. It's sort of, he can't even put the words around it, what Jesus Christ is doing in his life. He He can't explain it. It's a secret. It's a mystery. It's bigger than his thoughts. It's higher than his thoughts. I love to think that. And I love to think that Paul understood that he was serving a God who was much bigger than him. Much bigger than him. Much bigger than every single lie or everything that has dragged him down. He understood that, hey, he was serving a God who is much bigger than that. And then he goes on in chapter 3, and this is what he writes. He writes this prayer. And he says to the church in Ephesus, he says this. He says, my response to all of this, to the secret, to the mystery, all right, to that the kingdom of God is for everyone. He says, my response is to get down on my knees. Just fall down on my knees before the Father, this magnificent Father who parcels out all heaven and earth. He says, hey, look, if you could only grasp, if you could see the mysteries, the secrets, how big, how great Jesus Christ is, my response to this is that you just get down on your knees and you praise that magnificent Father. He goes on and he says, I ask him to strengthen you by his Spirit, and not a brute strength, but a glorious what? Inner strength, all right? He's saying, yeah, hey, I'm praying that you get down on your knees and you just thank God for who he is, how big he is, how actually God has a big dream for your life. And he says, and now I'm also praying that he'll strengthen you with a strength that is where? Inside, all right? Inside. He says that Christ will live in you as you open the door and invite him in. Can you imagine? I mean, just imagine with me. Can you imagine if we open the door of our hearts and our thoughts and we say, hey, Jesus, I want you to live in there. Someone who is bigger than anything we can imagine or comprehend. And we start living our life from that inner strength inside of us. Paul is writing this. He says, hey, this is what I need you guys to do. He goes on and he says, and I ask him that with both feet planted firmly on love, you'll be able to take in with all the followers of Jesus the extravagant dimensions of Christ's love. I love this. Paul is sharing here, hey, look, I want you to understand the whole reason behind this God, why he is so magnificent, is because he's a God of love. And what he is actually doing is as you open your heart, as you allow Jesus to live inside of your heart, there is something that changes inside of you that will get you out of that stupid box that you are living in. It will take away all the chaos. It will bring you a peace that you have no understanding about. It will take away all the lies, all the blame, all the suffering. It will take that away and it will give you a peace that surpasses all understanding, because this is the extravagant love of Jesus Christ. Paul understood that because he had a radical change in his life. Something he couldn't even imagine or dream about, from killing Christians to becoming the best Christian evangelist out there. He knew something had changed, something had shifted, and it was nothing of himself. But he just invited Jesus, the Spirit, this inner strength, this love, to actually live inside of him, and he walked in that love. He lived his life in that love. Imagine if we did that. Imagine if we weren't restricted to the lies and the false beliefs that people put in place in our lives. He goes on then and he says, reach out, come on, reach out and experience the breadth, test its length, plumb the depths, rise to the heights, live full lives, full in the fullness of God. Full in the fullness of God. Look, if you want to dream wildly, if you really want to experience what matters most, it is to live life in the fullness, and you can do that by just inviting him in. He ends off and he says, God can do anything, you know, far more than you could ever imagine or guess or request in your wildest dreams. I mean, if God is God, If God is the God who can do the impossible, if he can shift so many different circumstances in our lives, then why wouldn't we just invite him in? Why wouldn't we just say, hey, God, I need that inner strength inside of me to transform me from the inside out? Well, you may be sitting there and thinking, well, why does this matter? What is the point of this? Like, okay, dream wildly, yeah, but I mean, what does that do? Well, I think it's because God's dream, God's desire, his heart, his passion, his love, is that he actually wants us to experience something. And not, I think God's dream for us is not something we chase after, but it's actually something we become. It's far greater than anything that we could chase after, but it's something we become. It's something that shifts inside of us. There's this quote I love by Kenny Luck. One of my greatest quotes that I love sharing. This is how he writes this understanding, this mystery. He says this: your reality is God's glory, all right? He says everything that is happening in your life, especially the stuff you want to keep a secret, is an ingredient in God's greatness. I love this. Yeah, he's saying that, hey man, everything happening in your life right now, the stuff you're even trying to hide, all right, is actually the secret ingredient. It's needed for God's glory, for God's greatness. He goes on and he says this. He says, you might be thinking, I don't want God to use that. You know, like, honestly, like, God, can you use that? Like, that's embarrassing. Like, no, I can't. But then he says, God's reply is, that is exactly what I want to use. That is exactly what I want to use. He says this: God is eager to use your now life, not your cleaned up version, to fuel the dream. He prefers struggles over strength because one gives him glory and the other gives you glory. You see, this is what faith in Jesus is all about. It is actually us just coming like we are, and we just, and we just saying, hey, God, this is who I am. You know everything on my page. Honestly, you know that, God. And I'm here, and I'm just inviting you in, and I want to live with that inner strength of Jesus Christ in my life. And it changes everything. It shifts everything. There's another quote, and this is it, that just God's dream for you is not something that we chase, but it's something we become. And what do we become? This is what I thought, like, well, God is wanting his dreaming for us to become, imagine if we dreamed wildly about parenting, about the kind of parent we are. Imagine if we invited, the inner spirit inside of us and we said, hey, God, I want you to take over in my parenting. I want you to lead me in every aspect of my parenting like you would be a parent. Imagine the spouse we would be, the wild dreams, the neighbor, the leader, a friend, a teammate, a sibling, a customer, employer, a child, a boss, a servant, a student, a consumer. Imagine if we had this mindset and we said, well, this is what God is wanting. Like, God, hey, just change who I am in this environment. Do something that is far bigger than I can even understand or comprehend. Why this matters is because if we don't dream wildly, if we don't invite Jesus in, then there won't be a church. Then there won't be a people who actually place their faith in a God that is even bigger than this world. Why this matters is because the early church started as just a couple of normal guys following Jesus step by step. And as they followed him, they didn't understand everything. They weren't perfect. They got a lot of stuff wrong on their page, I'm sure. But yet they opened up and they said, hey, we're just going to abide with you, Jesus. We're just going to listen to your voice. We're just going to go wherever we can. And the early church then started, and Luke actually writes about this. And he shares about this, and I want to share this to end today. And it's this passage in Acts chapter 2, where this whole story unfolds about the early church and how the church actually started. Not as a building, but as a movement, as a people who were just saying, hey, Jesus, we are all for you. I love this. They get together, they're in this upper room, and just a chapter before, Acts 2, just a chapter before, they're actually, all the disciples are with Jesus. He has risen from the dead, and now they're all with Jesus, and all of a sudden, if you want to think wildly or dream wildly, Jesus then just ascends right in front of them and disappears, all right? All of them in front of them, they're gazing at him. And then this angel comes and actually says to them, hey, why are you guys like gazing up in the air? Jesus, who has gone now, will return, all right? There's this assurance that he will return, but actually there's this promise that actually there's this inner strength that he is promising. It's his spirit. It's something that will shift and change everything. And these disciples, I mean, these guys, Peter, who you'll hear from now, Peter actually, the crazy thing about him, he's all for Jesus, okay? And I relate to Peter often because I think, yeah, I can be like that at times. He's all for Jesus, all right? And Jesus actually calls him out. He says, hey, Peter, you're going to deny me. You are going to deny me. I mean, when you get in that box, all right, when you're around everyone, when you're around your mates, and when you get in that box, something is going to change, all right, and you are going to deny me. And he even says, hey, you're going to deny me 3 times, Peter. And Peter says, no ways, man. Jesus, you're my homeboy. Never, okay? We know the story. Someone comes up to Peter and says, hey, aren't you a follower of Jesus? Nah, me? Never. No, I didn't even know the guy. Another person comes up to him, says the same thing. No, I didn't even know him. 3 times, Peter denies him, all right? But then, something changes. Something changes. After this event where they see Jesus resurrected from the grave, something changes. Jesus leaves, and they get together. They're in this upper room. And as they're in this upper room, they're praying, they're in one accord. They're like, hey, guys, I think there's something more. I think there's something bigger than what we're about to hear. I think God is actually, real. And I think, what he's been doing and what he wants us to do inside and through us is going to change the world. I mean, can you imagine these guys speaking about this? And as they speak about this, something happens. There's a strong wind. There's this craziness that they say that there's this, it seems as if there's tongues of fire on all these people. There's about 120 people around there. And they all start speaking in different languages, all right? And it's crazy, like as they go in and speaking in different languages, this was a time of Pentecost when everyone had come to Jerusalem. And as they all came to Jerusalem, it was a time of celebration, and everyone had come from different places, understanding different languages. And there's this chaos that breaks out. And Peter, love this, Peter, the guy who denied Jesus just earlier on, right? He opens up with this. And he says, hey guys, I know what you're thinking. I know that dream's crazy. I know what you're thinking is going on here. He's crazy, but I want you to know these people are not wasted, okay? They are not drunk, all right? As you suppose. It's only 9 a.m. No, this is what was spoken by the prophet Joel. He's saying, hey, these guys are not drunk. I know they're speaking, all right, in all different languages. And other people were saying, hey, like I can hear my language. I can hear, all right? But this was the start of something that will radically change the world and even why we as a church, Gracegate, exist today. He says, no, this is something the prophet Joel said. And then he declares this. And Peter, his first sermon ever, he stands up and he starts preaching and he starts saying, he didn't even think about the box anymore, about his past and about everything that he had done. But he just declared and he just said there was something inside of him that was not of him. And he said, in the last days, God says, I will pour out my spirit on all people. On all people. He says, your sons and your daughters will prophesy. In other words, they will speak something about the future that will happen in the future. And he says, your young men will see visions, and your old men will dream dreams. As they listen to this, as they hear Peter declaring this and speaking about this, they're taken back because they would have known about Joel the prophet who had spoken about this before. And on that day, something shifts. The small movement of only a few, 120, it grows on that day to 3,000 plus. All of a sudden, they come together and they start saying, you know what? Imagine with me. Imagine if we just sold everything we had, all right? Crazy thought. But imagine we sold our stuff and we started sharing with those who are in need. Imagine if we stopped thinking about our past. Imagine if we stopped speaking about all the things and the craziness that has happened in our life. But imagine with me if we start living our life for the future, for the promises, for the vision, for the dreams that God has for our lives. And they start this movement. They're sold out on it. There is something inside of them. It changes them. It changes the world. Today, the Christian movement is a movement. It's not just a stagnant thing that we just settle for and we say, hey, it's okay. Just go through the phases because we believe Jesus is alive. And he still wants to change us. He still wants to create dreams that we haven't even dreamed about. Because that's the kind of God he is. Today we're going to end off with a song. And it's a song entitled Fullness. And we sang it as we came in today. And it's basically a prayer and I guess just a saying, God, hey, look, you know where I'm at. God, I need your spirit in me. I need your spirit to do something inside of me. I can see why this matters because this is what makes a difference. The church was never about making a point, but the church is about making a difference in our relationship with God and our relationship with others. As we sing this song, I want you to make that your prayer today. Maybe you've just been content with status quo or, how things are going in life. And maybe today God is saying to you, hey, you know what? Maybe I need to just invite you, God, into my heart. And just say, hey, give me that inner strength that only comes from Jesus. Maybe we need to be actually speaking into people's lives. And as we speak into people's lives, we're actually saying, hey, you are not your past. But we're actually going to speak about, hey, who you could become. The dreams that we can see happen, the potential that we can see happening in your life. This is what God is speaking about. And the song, as we sing it, there's these lyrics that go, hey, tongues of fire. It's like, hey, we want to speak life. We want to speak life into people's lives. We want to say, hey, it doesn't matter what you're going through, that there is a solution. It is a mystery. It is far beyond us. It is bigger than your circumstances and your situation. And that we'll declare this. So join us as we sing this song. And I invite you to just open your heart and just be where you're at with God today. And just wherever you're at, just say, hey, God, whatever you got to do, just do it in my heart. Stir in me something. Stir in me something that is bigger than this church, is bigger than the stage, is bigger than the lights, is bigger than the music. And just do something in us today, God.